Ah yes, what it's all about. The open road, the wind in the hair, the waving to passers-by, the staying extremely calm while stuck behind 40 club members. It's just perfect. I mean, yes, that's all brilliant, it's fantastic even. But how much did it all cost? So hi, welcome back to Cardboard and episode 10 of Project Fox Repair, the final episode. You'll be absolutely delighted to hear, as much as I am. It's been quite an undertaking, to be honest, and seeing as how it's the final episode, I thought it was only the right thing to do that we came to the bottom of my garden. It's lovely, isn't it? I know that you would think that I live in a very built-up area in Glasgow, but I don't. Look, that's literally the bottom of the garden we're at here. I mean, no way miles from home to get my 1 hour's daily exercise. Exercise. That is a joke in itself. We are, of course, at Porton Cross, or whatever it's called, and it is a beautiful little spot that we will be revisiting later this year with a rather grim story, but that's the story for another day. Today though, we are here to talk about how much everything has cost to get Scarlett back on the road after the incident that we will no longer refer to after this video is out of the way. Yeah, right. It's ingrained in my memory and I'll never get shot of it now, unfortunately. But yeah, I need to say a huge thank you to Tommy Morris, who is a commenter on quite a lot of the videos. He suggested that we actually do this video at the end of the series, and to be honest, while I had everything kind of totted up for how much everything cost for this project, I was going to add it all up and then just include it at the end of the 2021 video of how much have I spent this year. But he's right in what he said, that actually this is something that it's its own little bubble, it's its own little project, so we'll tot it all up here today. And just like the video I done at New Year, I actually don't know how much I've spent. Genuinely, hand on my heart, I have no idea how much it's cost to get Scarlett back on the road. So, before we get into it, I'm going to hazard a guess. I have a list of everything in front of me just now. I did write everything down, and then unfortunately I spilled e-liquid when I was putting everything in the car today. So I think it's kind of blurred out one or two things on the right hand side, but everything else is there. Now I know that the full list for 2020 was massive. This list isn't, so you know, this shouldn't be an hour long video. But yeah, we'll go through everything. So grab yourself a drink if you've got one. If you have a vape, if that's your bag, get one of them as well, and we shall begin. And I am going to say that my guess here for how much I've spent on Project Fox Repair, so there's a few things here that are choose from. Right, I'm guessing I really underestimated it at New Year, so I don't want to say £500, because if it's anywhere in that region, then jeez, that's a lot of money. But I'm going to guess £346 in that region. 346 to 350. That's what we'll go with for this one today, because to be completely honest, I'm not 100% confident that it's going to be any less than that. And the thing that really bugs me is that if this is actually well over the 250 mark, then, which I think it is, then that's the price of the Cobalt exhaust that I was going to buy after Scarlett passed her MOT. So that's a bit of a, you know, it sticks at the back of your throat, that. But hey ho, let's begin. If you're sitting comfortably, we'll start with something nice and small and nice and cheap, just to get us warmed up. And I have literally included everything in this list this time, rather than leaving off postages and whatnot. The whole lot's on it now. So, first up, the power steering belt. This is nice and cheap. So because Scarlett had the AC damage and we were removing the AC system, you have to remove that belt and replace it with a shorter, smaller one. So that cost £4.38 just for the belt. That's nice and cheap start. The next thing up, I have done it as one big package rather than, you know, £2 for this bolt, £16 for that bolt, £25 for this one. All in all, on nuts and bolts for this project, I've tallied it all up, and that was £45.28. Oof. Next thing up was the radiator. Now, you can pick these up cheaper than what I did, but I had that thing of, I need this yesterday, I need it, you know, right away, I can't wait. So you can get them for about £50 roughly. However, because I had to pay for super duper postage, and I also wanted it from a reputable source that I know and I use and I trust, because literally I go to them all the time. It's Autolink, they're in Scotland, and literally bang, next day everything's at your front door. The rad cost £83.64. There's not really any getting round that, and yes, it was the most expensive part that I had to buy. Next up was the air dam that was completely destroyed by the Fox. That's the small bit of plastic that sits in behind the bumper and guides the air towards the radiator. That was also quite expensive. That came in at £46.80. Not cheap. Then you've got the under tray as well. That got destroyed also by the Fox, which was just fantastic news. That cost $34.99. Sorry, I had to do a jump cut there. Someone was staring at the car and waving at me frantically. Where was I? The under tray, $34.99 for that. Next thing up was the hoses that were the... Now, I didn't have to buy these. I could have used the OEM ones that were still on Scarlett, but I thought, new radiator, buy new hoses. Those were £21.98. That was for the two of them. Also, I bought replacement clips as well, and those were £5.40. Next up, right, you're going to think that I'm mad for doing this, but next thing up is the number plate bracket. Now, I mentioned this in one of the earlier videos in Project Fox, that we were replacing the baby teeth that come at the front of the car, and there is a specific number plate bracket that you can buy that I had on Scarlett before the damage, and that was 15 quid, right? Now, the number plate that I had on Scarlett was the wrong size. It was oversized. I selected the wrong option, and it's always bugged me. And the number plate bracket was never what I personally thought was, how do you put this? I never thought it was a really good product, because you've got to use washers, all sorts of different nuts, bolts, everything, just to get it to fit and sit right. You can make them yourself if that's your sort of bag, then more power to you, but this is a long way of me getting around to saying that I bought a brand new number plate bracket that is custom made for the Mark 1 MX-5, and it cost £50.80. Sorry, what? £50.80, yeah. I know that that's a lot of money, and some people would say that I'm absolutely off my head for doing that, but it makes me happy. I would rather spend that money and then I'm happy. It sits, it looks right, it's the part, that's all that matters to me, right? It's just, you know, it's each to their own, but yeah, I know, £50 is basically another radiator. But yeah, that's how much it cost. It's Jazz Performance or something like that. I'm pretty sure I put a link in another video. Yeah, then we have the actual number plate itself, because we had to buy a replacement one of those, because why not, obviously. That was £32.47. Then we have the cheaper thing once again. In fact, I think this is the second cheapest thing on the list. Bumper clips. Those cost £4.95 for plastic clips that hold the inside of the bumper to the air dam and all that. £4.95 that cost. To be fair, the ones that were originally on Scarlet were all missing, bar I think 2 in total. So yeah, it's now a lot more sturdy because of that. Bumper paint, that cost £35.92, and the final thing was coolant fluid, because obviously we needed to fill that back up in the radiator once everything was fitted. That was £23.74, and that is it. That's everything. I told you it wasn't going to be a long list this time, but we now need to add it all up. What did I say? 350. Just give me 2 minutes, caller, and I will get this all sorted. Where's my calculator? 346 to 350 I said, so yeah, here we go. Let's add it all up. I'll speed this bit up. 408 plus £45.29 plus £83.64 plus £46.80 plus £34.99 plus £21.98 95 plus £54.80 plus 52 47 plus 55 92 plus £4.95, and finally plus £23.74. And the final amount for Project Fox equals... I wasn't far off. That's not bad, you know. That's really not bad at all. £384.96. That's really not too bad. I mean, yes, I would have liked it to have cost nothing, because I would have liked it to have not happened at all, but... well, actually, the more you look at that, that's only £16 shy of 400 quid. It probably did actually cost that, I don't know. It's cost me more in energy than it has anything else. Now, one thing that I need to caveat on top of that number is that that doesn't include, obviously, a bumper repair cost, because Phil didn't charge me for it. He refused point blank to take anything apart from some beer. And even at that, I had to force it on him. So yeah, if we had to factor that in, I know for a fact that the splitter on the front of the car, that is absolutely amazing that he's managed to salvage that, because that alone would have cost me 180 quid just for the splitter alone. £180 that would have added on, which would have brought the total up to over £500 basically. It would already be sitting at about £550. Then if I had done what I was originally planning to do, which would have been to purchase another bumper. Now, the thing that is quite ironic, Phil will love me for mentioning this, but during everything that I was doing, so throughout January, I was looking for a replacement bumper. I found one, because there's always people breaking MX-5s, which is shameful, but you know, it is the way it is. I found one for dirt cheap, but it was the wrong colour, so it would have had to have been resprayed anyway, and that in itself would have cost money. I was going to just put it into a shop and hope for the best. I didn't get a quote back because the shop that I contacted didn't respond to me, so you lost out on business. However, that's by the by. After Phil had agreed to take the bumper away very kindly and do the work, about 4 days before I was due to go and pick up the bumper, someone posted on one of the forums on Facebook saying that they had an incident with their MX-5, and obviously their bumper needed replaced. They went through their insurance, and as it turns out, they managed to end up having a second bumper, and would you believe they no longer had any need for the other bumper, which had been repaired by the insurance and was CU Red, which is the colour of Scarlet. He wanted £140 for it, I think it was, on Facebook. So, to caveat it then, realistically speaking, I'm going to be completely honest, I'm glad I still have the original bumper that belongs to Scarlett. I'm glad I've got that bumper. There is now even more story that is just enveloping this car by every week, and that's what it's all about for me. I don't want to just sort of go, yeah, I got that off Facebook and I slapped it on the front. No, there's time, there's effort, there's energy, there's story. That's what I want this car to be forever. You know, it's just a continuing story about what's happening. So yeah, you know, I'm glad I've still got the original bumper on Scarlett, because it's been mended, and it's been mended to such a high standard that I could never achieve. So I'm delighted about that. However, if I were to have done that variant, I'll be honest, if the bumper was available at the time, and if the splitter needed to be bought, and if I didn't have a fill handy to do the work, then that would have cost an extra, what would that be, 200, so it's 180 for the splitter. He wanted 140, so that would be, what's that, 200, 320? My maths is dreadful. Hang on. 180 plus 140, so that would be 180 plus 100 would be 280. Yeah, 320. Yeah, that's right, isn't it? Double check that. I mean, I've got a calculator open, so that would be plus 180. No, what am I doing? No, never mind. 180 plus 140. Yeah, I was right, 320. Jeez Louise. Sorry, I just get sidetracked there. So, yeah, obviously that would have been another 320 on top of the 380, which would have brought Scarlett's grand total to double that. So, yeah, that would have been, what, 600 and something odd pounds, and that's just, well, that's just, in fact, that's just 700 quid. It would have cost to repair if I had gone for the other bumper and that. So, yeah, we've saved money along the way. And let's not forget that if I didn't do a lot of the work myself, God knows how much it would have cost putting it into a garage. I did think about phoning up somewhere and asking if they would be able to give me a quote for, you know, what I've done, but I'm pretty sure that they would just tell me to piss off. And they would be right to do so. But yeah, anyway, that's pretty much all there is, apart from the finishing touch to Scarlett. Now, this was also something that was mentioned in one of the earlier videos, and I was quite surprised, to be honest, because I thought, good God, is this guy watching me? Because there's a couple of videos now where he's mentioned exactly what I'm talking about, or he's mentioned exactly what I'm thinking about doing. And that's Mick. So, Mick, stop watching me, because it's getting rather worrying every time I go to do something. He came up with an idea that I already had sent off for, and that was that we needed to put a finishing touch on to ward off any foxes from coming back to do any more damage to Scarlett. And I have it in my bag. I should have. Of course it was going to be a sticker. That's a fox deterrent if ever I've seen one. And by the way, if anyone wants one of these, I've got about another 10 because I had to order a pack. So if you want one, send me an email and I'll send it to you in the post. UK only. I'm not paying a fortune for international shipping, obviously. But or I might just keep them in case the one that's now on the front of Scarlett gets ruined. But yes, we are now completely fox proof on the channel. So yeah, that is it for this episode and indeed the series of Project Fox Repair. Now we'll get back to normal driving videos and whatever else that crawls up my hump, or indeed yours, because I want to start doing a different thing that we'll do possibly weekly or bi-weekly on the channel, but I'll talk about that in a separate video probably in the next week or two. For now though, thanks very much as always for watching. I do truly appreciate it, and for those that comment on the videos and like them and all that, honestly it means a lot, so thank you very much. And until the next time, oh, one more thing I forgot to mention, I will throw up a video in the next week. It will just be a short one, basically just the problems that we've had with Scarlett's battery. Well, I've been sat here now for over half an hour and there you are, she's working fine. So yeah, I'll put up a video in the next week saying what I've done to actually hopefully eradicate that, and the fact that I've been sat now for over half an hour and she's still running suggests that, you know, it was quite a simple fix. But I'll do that some point in the next week. So yeah, until the next time, remember, subscribe below if you haven't done so already. It helps the channel grow and whatnot apparently. And over on the right there, feel free to check out the playlist for Project Fox and what other rubbish is showing up there. I mean, what other quality content is showing up on the right hand side there. Until the next time, I'll catch you then. Bye bye.